For lesson 64, we're going to talk about classifying quadrilaterals. Remember that quadrilaterals have four sides, so they're polygons with four sides. And we can classify or sort quadrilaterals by the characteristics of their sides and angles. So if we look at the following table, it describes the various classifications of quadrilaterals. So if we have no sides parallel, we call it a trapezium. If we have one pair of parallel sides, so we have these two sides are parallel, these two are not. Kind of looks like the thing elephants stand on at the circus. Okay? That's a trapezoid. If we have two pairs of parallel sides, it's a parallelogram. Okay? If we have a parallelogram, so we have two pairs of parallel sides and all the sides are equal, it's a rhombus. If we have a parallelogram or two pairs of parallel sides with right angles, in here they're all right angles, that's a rectangle. And if we have a rectangle, so we have two pairs of parallel sides, all right angles, and we have equal sides, it becomes a square. So another way to look at all this is this little diagram. So we start with quadrilateral. Quadrilateral can either be a trapezium, a trapezoid, or a parallelogram. Okay, if it's a trapezium, that's it. That's all it can be. If it's a trapezoid, it has one set of parallel sides. That's it. That's all it can be. If it's a parallelogram, it could be just a parallelogram, or if it has two sets of parallel sides and the sides are the same, or we have 90-degree angles, it could be rectangle or rhombus. And if we have a rectangle or a rhombus, it could also be a square. So, I have a couple questions for you to think about. Is every square a rectangle? Well, does every square have two sets of parallel sides? Yes. And does it have four 90-degree angles? Yes. So, therefore, every square is a rectangle. Now, is every rectangle a square? Well, remember, a square, all the sides are the same, and not all rectangles have to have four sides the same. For instance, that rectangle I just made is not a square. So not every rectangle is a square. What name describes every trapezoid and every parallelogram? Well, the only word, if we look at this diagram, is quadrilateral. All trapezoids and parallelograms are quadrilaterals. So is the following statement true or false? All parallelograms are rectangles. So every parallelogram is a rectangle. If we look at this, it kind of shows that all rectangles are parallelograms, but it doesn't show that all parallelograms are rectangles. And to show you a parallelogram that isn't a rectangle, we can look right there at parallelogram. Just has to have two pairs of parallel sides. So it could look like this one right here, which is not a rectangle. So are all parallelograms rectangles? That's false. We can have some there. Now, are all rectangles parallelograms? We look here, rectangles fall under that because they are a parallelogram with right angles. So if this was worded the other way, it would be true. This is draw a pair of parallel lines. Let me get my line tools out here. So there's one line. Let's make this darker. There's another line. I guess it didn't make it darker, but that'll work. So I have two pairs of parallel lines. Then draw another pair of parallel lines. These lines should intersect the first pair, but not be perpendicular. So they don't want us to be straight up and down with those parallel lines. Cannot make 90-degree angles. So I'm going to draw some parallel lines this way. Remember, parallel lines will never touch. Okay? So I drew my parallel lines. I drew another pair of parallel lines that are not perpendicular to the first pair. What's the name of the quadrilateral that is formed by the intersecting lines? So I want to know what's the name of this quadrilateral. How many pairs of parallel sides does it have? Well, it has 2. So, first of all, 4 sides, so it's quadrilateral. I'm going to abbreviate here. Okay. It has 2 pairs of parallel sides, so now it's a parallelogram. Okay. Are all the sides the same? In this case, they're not. So it can't be a rhombus or a square. Does it have 90-degree angles? No, so it can't be a rectangle. So I'm sticking with parallelogram. Now, if you drew this, you might be able to get it so it ends up with all 4 sides the same. This would be a rhombus. If you drew yours more where all sides are the same, it would be a rhombus. So go ahead, do the practice set, answer the questions. This should be quick and easy. Remember, if you need to, use your book to help you with the different quadrilaterals. If you have any questions, make sure you bring them to class and ask.